We get a lot of questions about this drive wheel, and I'm going to go over some questions or some details roughly and give you a sense of what this wheel looks like, what some of the dimensions are. Basically, the smallest fork width you were going to use to use this needs to be about 118 millimeters. And that would be from this surface here to this surface here. You really can't go any narrower than that unless you're going to not use the brake drum or the brake shoe and backing plate. That could come off and you can go a bit narrower if you don't care to use the brakes. But this is 20-inch. If you're looking at bicycle sizing, most of your 20-inch tires will fit on this without any problem. If you're looking at a DOT, which this is a DOT-approved rim, Department of Transportation, and we offer a DOT tire with it as well. So in DOT it's size is 16 because that system goes by the rim size. Bicycle sizes go by the outside diameter roughly of the tires. And so I'll just pull this apart so you get a peek inside. Pull the axle out. Basically we have a pretty good functioning heavy duty drum brake system. So these shoes cam outward from the shaft. The cam mechanism has a lot of leverage and a lot of travel. So if you're hooking this up to a handle or a foot pedal, you need to make sure you can handle the travel. Or the cable goes in here and then through a hole. I don't know if you'll see that, but there's a hole right through the head of this bolt. When you tighten down the nut, it clamps the cable to this arm. And so when you actuate this, you actually want to snug it up so that the shoes are expanding inside against the cylinder wall with the axle assembled and everything. Snug it up. You can see it locks up pretty quickly. Snug it up and then let it back off just slightly, and that's usually where you want to tighten down the cable. And that way you don't have to use a lot of your travel just taking up the slack of moving the shoes from their neutral position out towards the cylinder wall. So some of the other questions I get on this is, what size sprocket will fit on there? Well, any plate sprocket with a bore of 42.5 millimeters diameter will fit over this cylindrical surface, and that'll help hold your sprocket concentric to the shaft and the center of the wheel. Now, obviously, as long as you have that to align with, the hole positions of the bolt holes that you use are far less critical because they're really just going to keep it from rotating. If you look on the back side, there are recessed holes for nuts so that as you tighten the bolt down, it draws the nut up and into the recessed holes. I don't know if you'll be able to see these okay, but there's a hexagon-shaped holes by each of the four that you see here. And those recesses will help hold the nut in place so that you can use a bolt on this side, and you can use a lock washer or a bent tab to keep them from coming loose. There's a number of ways you can do that to keep it in place. The axle width itself is a total of about 165 millimeters. You could replace that with a bolt. These axles, the functional piece of the axle, basically a 12 millimeter diameter axle.